Hi everybody, welcome back to our furniture flipping adventure. I'm Sarah and today we have a bit of a disaster on our hands. We got a drawer falling apart and we got no back to our little cabinet. But once we fix those little problems, and I'll show you how we're gonna do it, this will be a piece of cake. So come and join us as we repair and flip this cute little disaster. We're going to start off with taking the handles off and giving it all a good clean inside and out with my crud cutter, followed by a clean water rinsing to wipe it all back down again. It's important to clean your piece and make sure that all the dirt and grime is off, and cleaning it off with the water to make sure that there's no residue left over from your cleaner. Now our first project to tackle is going to be this drawer. It has come apart at the seams. I'm going to scrape off some of the splintering, rough edges, and then glue everything really well and clamp it together to hold. I got these clamps at Harbor Freight and I've used them several times fixing drawers like this and other projects, and they've really worked very well. I also have the same clamps in smaller sizes for smaller projects and different uses. If you don't have some clamps, they're relatively inexpensive and they are certainly handy. I'm using some Frankenstein paint today, and no, that's not a brand you haven't heard of yet. It's just, I had a lot of leftover bits and pieces of paint cans left, so I just took all the ones from my gray and blue families and I mixed them together. It looks kind of like a light blue with some gray tones, but we'll have to see how it goes on and dries. Hopefully it's a good color, but you never know. I'm just using a regular old paintbrush because all my other ones are inside, because I washed them and set them next to my sink and didn't bring them back with me. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with these tin inserts, is that what you call them? Anyway, so I'm just going to not paint them for now. And then I can decide whether I want to keep them or do a wash over them, or I don't know yet. I'll figure that out when I get there. I came out this morning ready to just slap on another bit of paint, sand down my wood filler, and get this project going and quickly finished when I found that there's some telltale signs of bleed through in my piece. Mostly where the wood, it was a little bit more porous, and there's just a bit of tinge of yellowish discoloration. Now, I didn't prime the piece because I was hoping to get away without it. When I cleaned the piece, nothing really came off that warned me that there would be bleed through, and I'll be honest, I really just didn't want to prime around these tin things because I didn't want to get primer on them accidentally, because primer it's not easy to get back off. So I was lazy and I was hoping I could get away with it, but I can't. But I don't want to prime over my blue. So what I'm going to do is I actually have some shellac. You can buy this in a can, a spray can, and it's a lot easier. You just spray it on the areas, a couple coats, and you're good. I've bought it in the can this time. It's cheaper in the long run, and it goes a lot farther, but a little more work. And it does normally, you can wipe it on with a rag, but if you want a good thick coat and you use a brush, I generally have to toss it away. So I'm going to be using an older foam brush that's seen better days, and I'm going to brush a good coating onto this area, and then the can says it can recoat in an hour. So I'm going to be a little bit behind my schedule, but I have some things to list on Facebook Marketplace, so I'll get this done. I'll go in and maybe I'll start cleaning my next piece so I don't waste time this morning. This is my husband's day off and my day to get a lot done. So this cabinet's throwing me off a little bit, but projects like to do that. You just gotta roll with the punches. I haven't painted the drawer yet because it was in the clamps when I was painting. So I'm just going to go ahead and start there. If you see something that you think is bleed through and you think, oh, I'll just put another coat on and it'll cover it up and no one will know, that's not true. Bleed through will just keep pulling through layers and layers of paint, and sometimes it shows up even worse when you put a top coat on. So it's best to prime a piece so you don't have this issue. But if you don't prime it and you have some bleed through, go ahead, put a couple coats of shellac and seal it in there. And if your piece starts to look even more yellowish when you're putting your shellac on, don't worry, you're not making it worse. The shellac is kind of tinged yellow itself. It's kind of an amber color, and you're not making it worse, you're making it better, don't worry. I went ahead and shellacked the whole piece just to be safe. Then I followed with a light sand with 220 grit sandpaper, and then started my second coat of paint. This is my first time trying the dry brushing technique, but I really felt like this cabinet was the perfect piece to test it out on. I was nervous, and I just dipped a little bit of the edge of my paintbrush in the paint, scraped most of it off on the side, and then I used a lid to dab off even more of my paint. I even did a little test swipe on my wrist to make sure that I wasn't going to go in with too much paint and make a mess. I was actually surprised at how easy it was to work with, and I quickly gained confidence. I wanted to do a wash over the tin just to tone down that orange, but since I didn't want to water my paint down and get drips down the front of my cabinet, I just lightly brushed it on and then wiped and dabbed it back with a damp rag, and as my 4-year-old would say, easy peasy. The tin had some discoloration to start with, and that really showed up even more afterwards, but I'm just rolling with it. So yeah, fun fact, you kind of need a separate brush for wax, and now I have one. Wax apparently doesn't wash out very well, and if you use one that has paint in it, the paint comes out when you put wax on it. Just get a separate brush for wax. You'll thank me later. My handsome, hunky, and wonderful husband helped cut and attach the new back for this little lady. It made her super sturdy, and now all that's left is showing her off. Alright, so we're done with the cabinet. I've added the hardware back on. I just used some flat black spray paint to update it, and it turned out nice. This is my first time doing the dry brush technique on something, and I like how this turned out. The style lent itself to more of that country kind of rustic vibe, and I thought about distressing it, but I figured with all that's going on it was enough for me. And if it's your style to go farther and add more layers, then that's definitely something that you can do. But for me, I think this is just what I want, and I'm gonna get my pictures taken and we'll get it listed and hopefully sold quickly. Well, she's all done and up for sale on Marketplace for $150. I thought I had sold her right away, but alas, as the lady drove here, her check engine light came on and she backed down on me. No worries, someone else will love her as much as I do and take her off my hands. We got this little disaster for free, and since we only used leftovers of paints and things, the only cost we had was $12 for the backboard. If you enjoy furniture makeovers like this one, then go ahead and hit subscribe. We'd love for you to introduce yourself down in the comments. I kind of get ridiculously excited to get notified that someone commented, and I look forward to writing back to you. I'll see you next time. Bye!